structure. And it made so much sense to me, and made me want to be a hip-hop artist. Then, a couple years later, here come, I don't know who was the initiator, but the West Coast Rap All-Stars, they dropped a song called We All in the Same Gang. And y'all didn't even realize we all in the same gang for real. It's us against the tyranny. It's not us against each other. It's not for us to kill each other like wild animals. That's not for us. That's not what we're here for. The wild animals can do that. Let the lions kill the zebras out in the bush. But in the human family, we didn't operate this way. We walked in love, harmony, and peace with each other until invaders came. Now, I done been here a long time, and I done took on many forms. As you see in my name, Morpheus, meaning one who transforms, meaning one who morphs for peace, who frees us. All these things are in the alchemical name. The name had to be alchemically charged over a period of time. Now, in order to have the 100 monkey effect, in order to make the vibration of this planet uninhabitable for this beast, I had to figure out a way to get the people to chant the word, more free us. More free us. I had to figure out a way. So I attached it to the music industry, turned it into a rhythmic tone, because you know, the sacred tones is the key to all this. When you intone the correct vibration, it all comes crumbling down on his head. He can't control us with this wickedness. Now, we all know that the human seed was corrupted. And this is how, like the Saudi family have those who wish to do Mother Teresa type work with all that surplus wealth. But then you have those who wish to look at it in a vault with big eyes and be like, oh my, I'm rich. Now, the ones who want to do the Mother Teresa type work need to be in charge of the money. The other ones need to be beheaded. But that's not my responsibility. That's up to the people of the Saudi to deal with their royal family, because they need to weed out the imposters so that the people can live comfortable all over Saudi Arabia. It's the same with every one of those countries. Now, you got outside forces interfering in your personal business. You got outside forces interfering in your personal business. And the reason why this is y'all all have a common religion called Islam. In this common religion of Islam, y'all used to have something called the Caliphate. The Caliphate could enforce the Sharia law. Well, we had a Sharia law over here, and they have our Mufti, Angel Bay, indisposed, so we can't exercise our rights to our Sharia law under the Moorish Empire because they've divided us so terrible. But Malik Angel Bay is our chief mufti. He is the one in charge of enforcing the law here. What do? Accuse him of terrorism, as they always do. When somebody righteous try to do something right, they villainize him. So, whatever his order be to his people, I'm gonna get out the way. I just hope that it be a peaceful motion first. You see. Then we had a statesman, and he was to teach us business and how to interact with one another. And this man was supposed to teach us how to carry ourselves in unity and to be able to break the barriers. And we call him Larry Hoover. Larry Hoover is our statesman and our diplomat. They put him in prison, and he was about to come home. They fabricated cases. Now, everybody with a drug case, y'all need to understand something. There's a federal statute in the United States Code that says when the government commits a crime, and uses the citizenry as a method to carry out the crime, the citizenry are not responsible for that crime. In other words, everybody with a dope case is in direct violation of every portion of your United States Constitution because they are agents of the government and they're not supposed to be punished. They're supposed to have qualified immunity for anything narcotic related as it is, because the government is the ones bringing the narcotics. Iran-Contra exposed the rats for who they were. Everybody thought Ronald Reagan was the bad guy. Ronald Reagan was scared to death. They did not tell you Nancy was forced to keep him sedated for the remainder of his life so he could never tell the story about George Herbert Walker Bush and his role with Central Intelligence in bringing all this drugs over here. But Iran-Contra Senate hearings will show you where I don't have to prove it. They proved it to you before I even said it. This should automatically have every drug case brought to the surface. And everybody with a drug case acted as and to this day, act as an agent of government. You can continuously prove this because George Walker Bush, right now, still got troops guarding opium fields in Afghanistan. They still there. Why are they doing it? Now, let's go a little bit deeper. Pick up that book, Behold the Pale Horse, written by William Cooper, and he tells you about the law that was passed in the late night hours by a select Senate committee in order to make George Herbert Walker Bush King George I of the United States. We count them backwards. Understand me? You have to count them backwards because it was started from King George III. Count them backwards. He was supposed to have the reins. 9/11 was their coup de grace. 9/11 was done by Dick Cheney, Donald Rumsfeld, George Walker Bush at the command of George Herbert Walker Bush in the act of treason. Bill Clinton, George Herbert Walker Bush's adopted son, was in on it in as much as he knew what was going on and continued to keep up the charade. So what do we do about this? We find a righteous man somewhere. We let him kind of like villainize him, but not really. Kind of like make him look bad, but not really. They make him look like a man, a regular man, and put him in office. And when they put him in office, they say, we'll put you in office and we're going to give you this job. And you're going to have to drain the swamp. But you have to let the people believe you still following the agenda of this wicked bastard so that we can overthrow this tyranny that's suffocating everybody on earth. We looked around and there was a very eloquent supporter of Ronald Reagan and dear friend of his that loved him greatly and mourned him for a very long time, even while he was alive, because he knew what they were doing to him and he was under the threat of death. He was bound to silence. I'm not part of no organization that can threaten me. Everything that I'm part of is about redemption and righteousness. So we trained him. I tried to tell y'all, you see, we sent him to Vincent Kennedy McMahon to be seasoned in learning how to be the bad guy. So you go back and you watch wrestling and you see Donald Trump in wrestling beefing with Vincent Kennedy McMahon, learning how to be a heel. He had to learn how to be the bad guy because he's not really a bad guy. But he had to play the role. See, in order to catch a serpent, you might have to play the serpent. In order to catch a thief, you might have to play the thief. And this is all part of life. And this is all part of the way that, hey, how you doing? This is all part of the way we get from under this tyrant. So he drained the swamp. This side of the water, but we have swamplands all over the world. So when he drained the swamp, all right now, when he drained the swamp here, Vladimir Putin drained the swamp there. Nobody wanted to talk to North Korea because they went right from day one. It's not that South Korea wrong. South Korea was sequestered from North Korea in an attempt to split the nation, and they did it. But North Korea had a backer in China that kept the wolves at bay long enough for me to expose the fraud. And so when Donald Trump went to go talk to him, he told him, we don't have to keep it up no more. He is here. He's going to set the record straight. So the Vietnam War was about a $1 bet. All of those people suffered in Vietnam and died on both sides of the conflict was about a $1 bet between billionaires. It's all documented, and it's a parody of it called Coming to America. The two old men, it's not hard to find. Now, once this is exposed to the public in a sufficient format, I'm going to go back, pool all my resources, and I'm going to show you where every reference is for everything I'm telling you. They all know. Now, it's a problem I got here. Problem I got with entertainment. Because entertainment is supposed to beautify the life of humanity with art and music. It's supposed to give us plays, what we call them today, motion picture. It's supposed to give us stuff to give us a break between work and during our work phase of life where we are beautified in the mind and the heart to keep us into a loving state, an uplifted state. Next thing you know, here comes Zionists. Well, who the hell are they and where they come from? Now, they're like, you anti-Semitic. I don't even know what that is. I can't find Semitics nowhere in history. How can I be against something that don't exist? So I look into this, and they got this group, two of them. One's called the Jewish Defense League, and one called Anti-Defamation League. One of them, the Jewish Defense League, are the ones, the strong arm of the Zionist movement. They the ones that they call, it's a joke in the Screen Actors Guild in various parts of Hollywood. They call them star whackers. That's what they call them over there. They call them star whackers. But they kill entertainers that don't want to surrender their wealth after their careers. So you see what happened to Michael Jackson. You see what happened to Tupac. You see what happened to Biggie. They want us to look like it's something other than what it is. They playing, we playing. We're going to find out who got the best plan when it's all over with. Now, watch this. They go over there, they set up these companies. Now, they leave signatures behind. The Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, MGM Studios, are very closely related to Golda Meir, who was one of the prime ministers of what we call Israel today. And they take the money from people to earn it because they feel entitled. This entitlement shit is bad, man. This is horrible. We got to get that out of the minds of the people. Nobody ain't entitled to nothing they don't earn. The only entitled person is an adolescent child. Nobody else is entitled. An adolescent child didn't ask to be here. But by the time he becomes a teen, he begins to learn how to take on the responsibility as a self. When he becomes an adult, he begins to learn how to enter into the work field and provide and produce. But some of them excel at an earlier age. So they need a different format. The educational format is controlled. If you get the book, The Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion, it's the entire blueprint. Now, I'm going to assemble my team of researchers, and I'm going to pick it apart for y'all and show y'all, because I already did it myself, so I know everything in it there that they said they had to control the world, they already did. Not going to do, they already did it. Their signature is on all their works. So they need to be compensated for their unjust works with justice. They need to be compensated for their unjust works with justice. So now, what do? We go to Hollywood and we get rid of the Jewish Defense League's positions of power. They don't need to be there. But this is how we going to do it so it don't cause too much disruptions in the day-to-day life. Every one of them, like example, I want I want Ted Fields to have to get in the UFC cage with Suge Knight and see how he fare. I want David Kenner to have to scrap with Dr. Dre and see how he fare. No, Harry-O. Send him in there with Harry-O in the joint. Let him go down there to fight Harry-O. See, Harry-O in there on some BS. You see? But he ain't no fool. So they take his money and start companies with and don't want to pay his money back to him that he earned by working for the government in sales and distribution. Working for the government. He can't be in prison for working for the government. It's not a crime to work for your government. That's patriotic at heart. He was working for your government. The same with Freeway Ricky Ross. He was working for your government, but when Russell Poole exposed him, now they got to lock him up because the government don't want you to know they behind it, because then you're going to start asking questions. When you start asking questions, you're going to find out that it's a rogue faction of government. We've been infiltrated. Well, when did it happen? Go back. Dwight D. Eisenhower, leaving office, his farewell address, he told you about military-industrial complex and the potential of its power of oppression of all people on earth. America has assembled its military force to call the Leviathan force around the world under the military-industrial complex. Now, if you know your biblical text, you know what the Leviathan is, the great beast. You know what it is. You know who was behind it. But it ain't the people of America. It's a rogue faction within the government of America that's pushing this agenda. What do? We drain the swamp. Now we gave Donald Trump a job to get the imposters out at high levels of politics, and he exposed Hillary and her husband, William Jefferson Clinton. And he exposed, he haven't exposed them, but he is addressing it, has addressed it. Your Bushes, your Rumsfelds, your Cheneys, they all know what's up. They all in on it together. There's only one of these jackals I ain't quite figured out yet, so I'm not going to put his name in here. Because it looked like, but he might have been going to the right. So I'm not going to mention him. I have to talk to my elders that know him better than I do in order to determine if what I see is really what I see. Because at the close of the age, as you get closer to where I'm at, more deception is exposed, so the righteous have to use a greater deception than the deceiver. So sometimes the misdirection is confusing. I can go do the math on it, but I haven't done it yet because I don't want it really to be true, and I want to give the people an opportunity. Now, politics, as we see it, is corrupt. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It's corrupt. We need to revamp the whole system in every nation around this planet. One country at a time, but everybody got to start at home first. Everybody at home got to get the imposters out their house. When all of the imposters is in the streets, then we know what we up against. You know, that fake love, fake hugs, that shit. It's over. Now, all of the ones responsible, they're going to have an opportunity to defend themselves with the facts. But if they can't defend themselves with the facts and satisfy the people, they're going to have to get in that cage. And the ones that they wrong can pick who they want to resolve the matter. See, we got Dana White in this UFC stuff. And we got him there for a reason. Dana White's job is to make it, he was to help Europe develop their own fighting style on the heels of what happened in Babylon. Everybody gave a drop of blood, and then Europe was supposed to develop to their own level of greatness so that they can have their name in the history books. This was supposed to be done as Greeks, but they were sacked by Rome and raped by Rome, figuratively and literally. Figuratively and literally. All of this stuff is verifiable and will be verified with the facts in written form and video format. I'm going to do all of this work to show y'all. Now, I did a lot of work to get where I'm at now because I wouldn't be here if I didn't. I did a whole lot of research, investigation for a long time to find out why are we suffering like we are. I did the work. I got some more work now. While the imposters are being weeded out, they gonna all be sent to Dana White to get in that cage. And the people they directly undermine are gonna pick who they get to fight with. If they lose, then we're gonna send them out to the gallows. We're gonna send them out to the gallows, sever their heads. Because you can't do people like that. Mama say you can't throw people away like trash, and I agree. And everybody out in Acts agree the same way. Even the ones I thought was inherently wicked say, nah, man, you can't just throw people away. But what are we doing? Look around you in the streets.
It is for my rituals. I have checks that I write, and then, you know, I put the amount on it, then I burn it. So this is one of the check amounts. What? Do they got it paused for y'all? Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. They had it paused for me. And then the amounts just go higher and higher. So 15. Then we got 150. And these are for my friends. One is 175,000. And then the other one is 101,500.
Mm-hmm.
And so literally it's like, it's not just me doing it just to do it. It's sincerely like I do it for my friends. I do it for my